Ahead on NewsWatch, Trump goes to Mexico. We'll break down the highlights of the trip and hear why Trump says he still plans to build a wall if he becomes president. Plus, British Muslims targeting non-Muslims for sex trafficking. Why the people who are exposing this disturbing truth are actually the ones under fire. And the Cuban Church is alive and well. See why some believe God is using their hardships to prepare a new generation of Cuban missionaries. And thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Fresh off a trip to Mexico, Donald Trump is talking immigration policy. The Republican nominee made it clear he has no intention of softening his stance, reiterating the need for a wall and drawing criticism from his Democratic opponent. Caitlin Burke has this story.
There was no sugarcoating it. Donald Trump sticking with his hard stance last night in Arizona during a major speech on immigration.
We will build a great wall along the southern border, and Mexico will pay for the wall.
The Republican presidential nominee outlined a hardline set of proposals for tackling illegal immigration, promising to focus first on deporting illegals who have committed crimes.
Day one, my first hour in office, those people are gone. Zero tolerance for criminal aliens. Zero. I am going to create a new special deportation task force.
Under his presidency, Trump said there would be no amnesty, adding that no illegal immigrant will be legalized without first leaving and coming back the correct way.
It's our right as a sovereign nation to choose immigrants that we think are the likeliest to thrive and flourish and love us.
Trump also promised to cancel President Obama's executive actions and enforce current immigration laws. This all comes on the heels of a surprise trip to Mexico by the Republican nominee. In his meeting with President Peña Nieto, Trump defended the right of the United States to build a border wall.
It was a thoughtful and substantive conversation, and it will go on for a while, and in the end, we're all going to win. Both countries, we're all going to win.
Trump said that the two men didn't discuss who would pay for the cost of that wall, but Peña Nieto later tweeted, "At the start of the conversation with Donald Trump, I made it clear that Mexico will not pay for the wall." Hillary Clinton also took to Twitter to blast Trump's visit to Mexico, tweeting, "Trump just failed his first foreign test. Diplomacy isn't as easy as it looks."
Takes more than trying to make up for a year of insults and insinuations by dropping in on our neighbors for a few hours and then flying home again. That is not how it works.
But in the polls, Trump is closing the gap with Clinton. The two virtually tied in a new Fox News poll in a four-way race, with Clinton at 41% and Trump at 39%. And her unpopularity is reaching new highs, now tied with Trump among registered voters in the latest ABC News Washington Post poll. But with critical presidential debates yet to come, a lot can still happen between now and Election Day, now just a little over 2 months away. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
The Internal Revenue Service discovered more than 1 million U.S. taxpayers had their identities stolen by illegal immigrants. Between 2011 and 2015, the IRS flagged nearly 1 million returns that appeared to have a stolen Social Security number. But a Treasury Department watchdog reveals the IRS never told any of the victims. Investigators first alerted the IRS to the problem 5 years ago, but it's still not fixed. The agency has said they are working to find a solution. The U.S. Supreme Court is refusing to reinstate North Carolina's voter ID law. The 4-4 ruling means voters will not need to show photo ID when casting their ballots in the presidential battleground state. It also means the state will allow 17 days of early voting. That's expected to benefit Democrats in November, since registered Democrats historically have favored early voting. Hillary Clinton has been accused of endangering national security, coming under fire in recent months for her use of an unsecured personal computer server for her government emails when she was Secretary of State. Now, more of those emails will be released this month by order of a federal judge. One small watchdog group has been behind the move to get those records released. Jenna Browder brings us the story of Judicial Watch.
New revelations in the investigation of Hillary Clinton's emails.
An old fire given new life.
Hillary Clinton's emails, again the topic of a hearing in Washington today.
Nearly 15,000 more emails uncovered by the FBI.
And it is exactly, Jake, that intermingling of interests and donations and favors being done.
This latest batch showing close links between Hillary Clinton's State Department and the Clinton Foundation.
Judicial Watch, the watchdog organization.
The conservative watchdog group, Judicial Watch.
Judicial Watch.
The group behind it all, Judicial Watch, a small but influential watchdog made up of only about 50 people.
Well, we've been busy, and it's a result of our perseverance and our litigation.
President Tom Fitton heads up the team that's helping shape the political and media discussion with these latest revelations.
Judicial Watch is a nonprofit educational foundation. We're nonpartisan, we're neither Republican or conservative, and our goal is to educate the American people about what its government's up to.
Fitton shows us around the D.C. office. At work, mostly lawyers and investigators nose deep in litigation.
The great old American system allows us to get access to the courts if the government doesn't turn over those documents. And so the government oftentimes is forced to turn over documents like the Clinton emails because we're in the courts. And Judicial Watch is doing things in terms of getting access to information about the IRS scandal, about Benghazi, and of course the Clinton emails that Congress wasn't able to get or is uninterested in getting. And the rest of the media isn't terribly interested in getting or is unable to get as well.
Judicial Watch scooping 60 Minutes, 2020, and other mainstream media investigative units.
I can't tell you, how oftentimes we'll see something in the news that's extraordinary and people are talking about, but we're the only ones asking the follow-up questions of government agencies to find out the detail.
And for both sides of the aisle.
We sued the Bush administration twice as much as we sued the Clinton administration. Now, the Obama administration is a special case because they're completely opposed to transparency and fight us repeatedly, so we've had to sue the administration hundreds of times to get access to government records.
This while Donald Trump hammered Clinton on this specific issue that will not go away for her campaign.
And for those skeptical about the timing of the release of these latest emails.
She tried to suppress this for years. The cover-up unraveled. A lot of the documents we're talking about with the foundation were given to the State Department by Huma Abedin back in September of 2015, and we're only getting them now.
Fitton says we can expect more revelations in the days leading up to the election and even after.
We're going to keep on pursuing these Clinton emails. We're going to keep on asking questions of the government, no matter who wins, Trump or Clinton.
And that means fanning the flames to stomp out secrecy, so in the end, the American people don't get burned. In Washington, D.C., Jenna Browder, CBN News.
The American Center for Law and Justice is suing the Obama administration for doing nothing to stop Christian genocide. CBN News interviewed Jordan Seculo, the executive director of the ACLJ, for some answers.
There were other countries talking about it, but the U.S. diplomats were totally silent, and we weren't hearing anything from our administration. We weren't seeing action at the Security Council.
The Obama administration is still silent and has until the end of September to respond to the lawsuit. Meanwhile, Seculo says Christians should fight the genocide.
We have a duty to act, and one of the things we can do is to talk about it. It's not a pleasant thing to talk about, but especially because it's happening to our own brothers and sisters, our fellow Christians. I think we have a duty to tell each other and inform other Christians about it.
Coming up, an explosive report you just have to see to believe. Muslims rape gangs targeting girls by the thousands, but the truth is being silenced by political correctness. It's a huge scandal in Britain. Muslim rape gangs. You may not have heard much about it. It's been covered up by the media and the government. But now we're about to show you the entire story, and it is shocking. Dale Hurd brings us this incredible story from London.
Some scandals are so massive that they're simply hard to believe. But this one is true. As many as 1 million white English children may have been the victims of Muslim rape gangs, better known as grooming gangs, in towns up and down Great Britain. policy analyst George Igler.
I mean, when you counter an issue that is just so unbelievable, just so outside your frame of reference and understanding, the immediate human reaction is just not want to believe it at all.
Perhaps even harder to believe is that while there have been prosecutions, British authorities have still not stopped this criminal activity. There's a particular problem involving Pakistani heritage men who target young, vulnerable white English girls. Not my words, but a member of Parliament, Jack Straw, who also said these Pakistani heritage men view white English girls as, quote, easy meat. This is when some shout racism, but here are the facts. Calculations based on convictions show that a British Muslim male is 170 times more likely to be part of a sex grooming gang than a non-Muslim. And there are no recorded instances of non-Muslims doing this to Muslim girls as part of a criminal enterprise. In one local jurisdiction, it was estimated that 6 out of 7 Muslim males either knew about or were part of a grooming gang.
What you do not have is any example of non-Muslim men targeting Muslim girls for this organized form of abuse. So the argument that this crime exists everywhere is not only false, but is being deliberately cultivated by the media and by the government inquiry that is kicking the can down the road.
The grooming gangs have been traced back as far as the late 1980s. At-risk white English girls, often from broken homes and some as young as 9 years old, were wooed or groomed by teenage Muslim boys called Romeos, and even by groups of Muslim men who hung around school gates. The plan was to make the girl feel important. She was given gifts and drugs, but she was being groomed to be a drug-addicted prostitute. Then came the gang rapes. The girls were threatened with death if they tried to flee.
It's not just sexual abuse. It is unspeakable levels of violence. Victims being raped with knives, victims being raped with bottles, victims having their tongue nailed to tables. These are sometimes girls who are being picked up from children's homes on a Friday, are being raped during the course of the weekend by hundreds of men, and then returned with bleeding groins back to the children's homes on a Monday morning, and they don't do anything about it at all.
Christine's goddaughter was preyed on by the grooming gangs and is helping girls through the group Women Against Grooming.
They pulled up by the side of her in cars. They tried to get her in the car. They were talking to her, come on, come with us, we'll take you here, we'll take you there.
Were you saying that the authorities make it sound like it's the English girl's fault?
Yeah, or the parents' fault. It's your fault because you haven't got control of your child.
If you are a young English girl, particularly between the ages of 9 and 14, and you find yourself subject to the perversions of Muslim men, you effectively exist in a country where the forces of law and order don't exist at all.
Stephen Lennon, also known as Tommy Robinson, former leader of the English Defence League, was just a young boy in the town of Luton when he learned a family member had been victimized by a grooming gang.
My cousin was raped and she was found naked running from the Muslim community, aged 13. The police wouldn't help. All the police would say is she's a drug addict. She was a drug addict because they got her hooked on drugs after grooming and raping her.
Some say grooming gangs originate from a particular region of Pakistan, but others point out that the Quran encourages Muslims to take enemy women as sex slaves, and that Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old wife. ISIS defends sexual slavery as Islamic, saying enslaving the families of the infidels and taking their women as concubines is a firmly established aspect of the Sharia, or Islamic law. The reason these crimes were covered up and continue to this day is political correctness. No one wanted to be called a racist. The definitive book on this scandal is Easy Meat by Peter McLaughlin, who declined an on-camera interview for safety reasons. He told us journalists would not speak about it because the perpetrators were mostly dark-skinned and Muslim. Childcare professionals used political correctness as an omerta, a code of silence concerning what the public was allowed to know.
These girls are the victims of a multicultural revolution, and it's certainly an indication of the fact that this accusation of racism is potentially the most powerful political weapon known to man. This is also an example of what can happen in a country of 60 million where the press just refuse to report, where the cries of all these agencies fail to merely discuss what's going on, and it's only going to get worse for this reason.
The cover-up was eventually exposed, yet the grooming gangs continue to operate. One victim told a British newspaper, "Nothing has changed, not in the slightest. It's still the same scale as before."
They get sexual kicks out of ruining the most precious possession that those people have, their daughters.
Stephen Lennon warned that there will be repercussions.
But there will be a lot of blood spilled in this country, and it'll be on the hands of our leaders. And there'll come a time when they will realise what they've done. And the country's people will realise what they've done as well. They've sold us out, they've destroyed our nation, they've destroyed our culture.
Dale Hurd, CBN News, London.
And next, the Cuban Church is booming with a missions movement of its own. We'll take you to the island nation to see this explosive growth when we come back. It was an historic flight. For the first time in more than a half century, a commercial plane flew from the U.S. to Cuba. The flight reestablishes regular air service that ended due to the Cold War. Now, roughly 300 flights a week will connect the U.S. with Cuba. The opening of the U.S. relations with Cuba is leading to a boom in missionary outreach to the island nation. American Christians are excited about getting into Cuba, and as Heather Sells reports, Cuban Christians have already begun a missions movement of their own.
A mission tsunami is cresting in Cuba as North American churches prepare to flood the island nation. They're spurred on by improved relations and travel that's gotten easier.
Any leader who's excited, who's trying to find where to be involved in the world or how to take his church to an exciting piece of Christianity, they think of Cuba.
Southern Baptist leader Jason Carlisle says interest took off last year when President Obama moved to improve relations with Cuba. Still, Carlisle and other mission leaders remain cautious. They want Americans to act primarily as learners and encouragers. That's because the Cuban Church is booming and can share considerable experience with U.S. churches. One key accomplishment, it has started more than 15,000 churches in just the last 20 years.
It's not like we're going to this closed country where the gospel has not reached. It has. The believers are growing incredibly, just amazingly. House churches being planted everywhere.
This Christian-owned farm showcases the Cuban Church's passion and creative approach to sharing the gospel. The farm funds a mission school that trains church-approved candidates for a year, then sends them to unreached areas of the island.
The vision of opening a school for missions was planted in our hearts by God.
Pastor Juan seized on a unique moment in 2008 when the Cuban government gave land to farmers. He took on fields plagued with thorny vegetation to fulfill his vision for a self-sustaining ministry. Today, close to 100 alumni have established new churches.
We don't have luxurious buildings or classrooms or luxurious accommodation, and these could be some obstacles to do the work of the Lord. These could be reasons to say, I can't do anything, but this does not stop us. We are moved by the vision and passion that we have.
And that vision and passion has led to a global focus.
Despite incredibly limited resources, the Cuban Church has begun a missionary movement of its own. It has already started sending missionaries to other countries.
Cuba is a missionary country. As a matter of fact, we've been preparing for many years to send people to other countries.
Hundreds of Cubans have recently responded to the call to foreign missions. This couple left this summer to work with an unreached group in Ecuador. Missions experts marvel at how God has uniquely prepared Cuban Christians for the mission field. For starters, they understand hardship.
The needs, the scarcity that we've gone through have been preparing us to go.
What Cubans have grown up in is what can be reproduced in just about any country of the world, particularly in areas that are harder access, because you don't have to take a lot of resources. You don't have to take a worship team.
Cuban Christians also understand a very simple method of church planting.
The fact that they have been accustomed to working under severe limitations is a great advantage. You take the living Word of God and you teach it to people. You share the gospel. They become disciples. You disciple them, and you begin to start house churches.
Southern Baptists have even brought other Latin American missions teams into Cuba to observe the church planting movement. The idea, if Latin and North American Christians can reproduce what has happened in Cuba, the modern church could grow exponentially. Add an emerging Cuban missions movement, and the possibilities are endless. Reporting in Havana, Heather Sells, CBN News.
Hip-hop artists Lecrae and Tedashii are joining Christian music's Michael W. Smith this Labor Day weekend for Passion for America. It's a concert and launch party for a discipleship revolution and an app called Lifeline 911.
The purpose of the music festival's Passion for America, which will kick off on September the 4th at Sioux Falls, South Dakota, is to give away the app and ignite a discipleship revolution across the nation and around the world. Our nation needs a movement like the first century church.
If you are not able to make it to South Dakota, the event will be streamed live. Simply go to cbn.com/Studio 5 and check out my blog. I have complete details about the event. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about, and you can find it at cbnnews.com. We'd love to hear what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. It is Thursday. Make it a thankful one. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.